See, when I start acting like this is gonna force me to edit videos. And I don't want to do that. Uh, the only thing that I want to edit is DIY stuff that I post. I don't really want to edit the social stuff, but I mean, if I have to edit, I will. What what crossed my mind and been something that I thought about in the past a lot is black men being a black man. Um, One of the only things that our society doesn't give us any pushback about is being uh, knee deep in the religion or a Christianity. I can't say in the religion because a black Muslim doesn't get a free pass to be you know, it's not in the United States. You know, a black Muslim is considered a threat for the most part. Um, but black Christian men, they don't really get any pushback at all. And I feel like that's one of the only things that you can do. Well, you can also, I guess you can make an argument that being an athlete, you know, also doesn't give you don't get a lot of pushback being a black athlete. I guess that's a positive thing. But I mean, I can't think of anything else besides that you would not receive pushback on. Maybe you guys can tell me if you can think of something that being a black man in society. I'm focused mainly on black men. I'm not focused on black women. Black women have a different path. They have different struggles, you know. So I'm not comparing. I'm just observing. So what I was thinking is how like being a black, that's one of the things. And then I used to always think that like, why is it that being religious, a Christian Bible thumper gets a free pass, you know? And if you are adamant or aggressive about anything tangible at the moment, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Anything that is tangible at the moment, like even if you are in a workspace, you gotta be careful, you know. You gotta watch your back because there's somebody that's not black, or it might even actually be a black person. Let me not go too far with that. It might actually be a black person too that kind of sees your presence at that workspace or in those endeavors as a threat and something that you shouldn't, something they feel for whatever reason they don't think you deserve it for whatever reason, you know. That's been my experience. My experience has been you know, as a black man, especially working in a workspace, there's always some kind of entity that doesn't want you there, that behaves in a manner that they'd be better off without you there. There's always some kind of force, some kind of exterior force that is pushing back at the fact that you are in that office, or you are at that job space, or you are some kind of, you're trying to prove that you are incompetent in some way, shape, or form. Let me know if that resonates with you. It resonates with me. And it's like, and they will go out of their way. They'll be like, oh, you know, let me call him out on this. Let me call him out on that. I'm trying to understand what the fuck. there's always some kind of, that car was doing something weird, sorry. But yeah, there's always a level of incompetence that you are producing, and everybody else gets a pass. Everybody else gets a free pass, free range. They can make mistakes, they could be incompetent. You, on the other hand, you cannot be in any shape. And guess what? You are also not gonna be adequately. Nobody's gonna go. Well, this is also interesting to me too. No one's gonna go out of their way to make sure you are adequately trained. They're gonna expect you to have all the knowledge and understanding of your job just because you're there. You know, which is also a form of, workplace abuse, in my opinion. Nobody's gonna make sure, hey, has this guy had enough time? And it literally happens to a certain extent. It happens on a subconscious level. I mean, not everybody is like actively engaged, or these entities, this energy is not active. It's not always actively engaged in your torment. They're not always. It's kind of like on autopilot, and only when you are somewhat of an inconvenience, or somewhat of a, hey, what, this guy apparently hasn't. They don't even think of it. They don't even think of it that way. Any form of inconvenience that you create, to the from the smallest thing to the biggest thing, any form of inconvenience that you create turns you into a burden, a huge burden, even though you might have not been adequately, you have not had enough job experience or enough experience at that position, or whatever it is that you trying to endeavor. Any form of incompetence or any form of inconvenience that you create, that's a termination. That qualifies you for termination. And what I was trying to get at is how a big reason why I came to the conclusion that black people, black men specifically, the only time you don't get any pushback in life is when you are basically waiting for the afterlife. And that's what I think a Bible thumper is. Like, these pastors, these priests, these preachers, you can make money. There is a market, there is a corner of there is a place to make money in that endeavor. Oh. Huh. Nice. I left my garage door open. How did I do that? That's a good ass question. But hey, I might as well just pull in, right? But what I meant to say is there is definitely a way there was definitely some monetized, you know, um, incentive in just